Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm not. No good reason except that it's hot outside and I'm having a bad brain day / my brain and body don't want to do anything. So, yay, lovely. And that's why we're just hanging out and chatting today, which will be absolutely so much fun if no one decides to show up and chat. And so I didn't think about that before I decided to just do the hangout and chat thing because I suck at coming up with topics beforehand. And when I got up today, I'm like, yeah, I just can't brain. Hello, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Unless someone else shows up, you're gonna be the one carrying on the chat from the viewers. And otherwise. Okay, give me just a sec. My thing is saying I'm getting no data. Can you hear me / see me? This is so weird. YouTube is saying it's not getting any data, but I'm not seeing any other errors. Okay, now it's saying stream is health. Oh no, that was from 4 minutes ago. Okay, now it's saying excellent condition. Yay. Okay. Apparently I can at least brain enough to say that. Yes, you're not getting the most enthusiastic, well, maybe enthusiastic. You're getting a loopy TEF today is what I'm saying. I know on Monday I said that we might, oh my goodness, my hair is sticking up weird ways. I know on Monday I said we might do more sticker designing today. As you can see, we're not. I just couldn't. Oh, thank you for saying I look pretty today. I did wet down my hair and re-diffuse it / blow dry it so that it looked slightly less messy than it would have looked otherwise. I have not washed it since my Monday stream. There we go. It's really annoying when 1 or 2 waves is stretched out and then it looks like it's cut not right. And I'm like, no, it was cut right at least when it was straight. It just doesn't always wave up consistently. So that is what's going on today. I know I mentioned earlier that it's hot here, and I know that everybody here in Portland is wimps, and I don't like any temperature above 70, 72. And I know that is cool for a lot of you. But before you start laughing at me too much, it's 94 right now. And while I do technically have AC, it usually doesn't work right, so I usually don't turn it on. So yeah, I've been wilting, and the fact that I only have 1 fan on me right now instead of 2 fans, aka also having a big box fan on my body. It's in my bedroom. I have it pointed at my bed. But I figured that it would make too much noise. I've heard that my desk fan, the little one that I use to point at myself during streams, still makes a little noise, but it's not enough that anybody's really complained about it. Excuse me. So, we're gonna stick with it. Oh, I'm sorry you're having to deal with it being hot in Alberta there too. That sucks. I think a lot of places are really, really hot right now. Hello, Leah. I hope you're doing well. So yeah, we can just all melt together. You're not that late, Leah. Oh, whoops. I left a little hair spiral on my desk because I wasn't sure how long I was going to be able to last with my hair on my neck. So I brought clips and a little spiral. And guess what this looks like? A spring. So, of course, Coco was like, hey, let's play. I'll get you a real spring. Would you like a spring? That's the color. I don't know why I always like to show the color, but I do. Hello? How is everybody else doing today? Since today is very loose and I'm not sure what I'm doing, I figured we'd just talk about whatever. If you guys want me to check out something online, look at a different like planner and review it based on the listings, we can do that. If not, we'll just ramble on for a little bit until we get bored, and it will be a short stream. We shall see. Had I not already had this stream scheduled, I honestly might have just canceled it. But now that I'm talking to you guys, I'm picking up, my energy is getting a little better, because like when I'm feeling the way I'm feeling today, sometimes it's just like, no, it's not gonna work. And sometimes I do perk up, like I am now. Some of it is, oh my goodness, my, like, just the side of my nose is itching. It's really bugging me. I do have, I guess you could call it a customer service face that I can turn on when I have to, like, real fast, just to, like, I don't know, when I have to be perky, I guess. And so, like, at the beginning of the stream, I definitely employed a little bit of that, but it's definitely, like, fake it till you make it, in, like, the whole thing of, like, oh, I'm acting perky, and now I'm feeling a little bit more perky. And, you know, you're saying you missed a few of my streams, but you're so busy with work, you were wondering if we can go over the Rings A5 agenda and other ways to use it. Leah, perk like coffee. I did have coffee this morning. It was hot coffee, which probably was a bad idea, but I don't really like iced coffee in a lot of situations, at least how I can make it, so. I'm weird about ice in things. I did make myself iced tea. For anybody who is in the South, it is not made with Lipton tea, but it is sweetened. So I'm not sure if it's really sweet tea, but yeah. I literally put a whole tray of ice cubes in here, and they are like all at least 3/4 melted, and this could even be colder. I wanted to put more ice in it just before the stream, but the ice cube tray had not refrozen. I just have one ice cube tray because it's just me, and I'm usually really good about refilling it, so I rarely run out of ice. But so there's like, oh, if I rarely run out of ice, why should I have 2 trays in my freezer? But today I ran out of ice. Okay, so we have some ring agenda questions, or so you're saying, Manito, that you find the ring agenda has the least content. All the ones that you found are mostly from a year ago when it came out. I mean, we can definitely go over the ring agenda, and like what is on the Erin Condren website, and I can definitely do some searching. I personally have not used a ring agenda. I have it, and I never opened the actual inserts from last year, so I don't want to spend money buying them again. I mean, the biggest thing with a ring agenda is that because it is a binder sort of deal, you can put whatever you want in it, and it fits A5 inserts, which means that you can buy inserts from third parties, which is very, very cool. I actually spent a little bit of time, just a little bit, I mean, like a couple months ago, trying to make my own ring agenda inserts, because I figured, like, well, I have cardstock and I have a cutter, and like I could at least make something somewhat decent. But alas, I lost interest because ooh, very good point, Maddie. You know, you're wondering if the agenda would be more affordable since you're worried about inflation costs starting next year. Well, let's go ahead and pull up well, I have the website pulled up. Let's pull up the screen share. I did not pre-size it so that it like fits nicely on my computer. So let's do that. By the way, I've known about Rakuten for a while, but I didn't realize you get 2% cash back when you use the like plugin on the Erin Condren website, which is kind of cool. So I didn't dismiss the pop-up. So let's just go ahead and let's look at the ring agenda. I think, oh my goodness. Sorry guys, as I said, like, while I actually don't feel very tired per se, I probably have about as much brain as I did when I was fostering the bottle babies at first and was like super sleep deprived. Magneto iced tea. Sometimes I do make it with Lipton tea, like the way they do in the South, because I'm very much not from the South in the US. I'm from Portland, Oregon, which is in the Pacific Northwest. I'm one state away from Canada. If I didn't have to worry about like delays at the border, it would take me about 4 hours to drive to Canada. Oh, take that back. My family drove to Canada once when I was a teenager. But recently, as an adult, I have not driven to Canada. But I'm pretty close to Canada in the grand scheme of the US, because the US is huge. So anyway, we very much do not have the like southern, I was going to say southern style, like the culture over here with like iced tea, like sweet tea and stuff like that. So yeah, but I do sometimes make myself like actual sweet tea, like southern style, which is delicious. Ooh, a chai iced tea latte sounds amazing. When we were a kid, I used to get like the containers of like the pre-brewed chai. And I'd make myself chai lattes, but for some reason I would always have stomach issues afterwards. For a while I thought it was the dairy because I was lactose intolerant. I don't know. I'm not anymore, and you're not supposed to be able to become unlactose intolerant. So whatever the reaction I was having to it was like your standard lactose intolerant reaction, but apparently because you're not supposed to be able to recover from it, it wasn't that. But anyway, I would get that sort of reaction, but even if I used like soy milk or almond milk or something like that. So while chai is delicious, I've been staying away for a long time because like I just don't want to deal with that. So let's actually look at the agenda and get back on it. And yes, Leah, no brains for me. Also thinking about, would the academic planner be a better alternative to the writing agenda? You think Canada and America have similar food cultures anyway? I think a lot of it is similar. I mean, we here in the US, like there's definitely some stuff in Canada that's a little different, like poutine really isn't a thing here. I don't know if it's just stereotypically a Canada thing or if it like actually is quite popular. And it seems like we have a lot of the same foods, but we have like slightly different maybe cultures around them. Like, and again, this could just be like a media stereotype thing, but I hear like the whole thing with like donuts that are really popular in Canada. I'm not saying donuts aren't really popular here, but I don't think anyone thinks of like the US and like donuts are popular. Like we hear about like Tim Hortons and stuff like that. Now, people do associate Portland with donuts because we have this place called Voodoo Donuts. It's in a couple of other places in Oregon too, but Portland has like the main location. And we're known for like weird donuts there. Their bacon maple bars are delicious, so good. I usually stay away from Voodoo, and like I only go if I'm already in the area because they often have really long lines, and I'm usually too lazy to wait in the line for like 45 minutes for a donut. But yeah, that's Portland specifically is a little associated with donuts, but not the US. Hello, Caramel Cookie. Welcome. I'm glad to hear you got your In Bloom agenda today, and I'm glad that it's gorgeous. I'm actually, just before we go further, sorry, I'm going to change the title. Since I didn't know what we were going to talk about today, I'm just like, hey, we're just hanging out. Well, bring agendas, affordable planning, and hanging out. Does that sound like a good title to you guys? So let's go ahead and do that. Ooh, iced cappuccinos from Tim Hortons. I mean, iced anything that is delicious sounds good right now for me. I guess I could go out and like go to Starbucks or something and grab something. Or Wendy's. Wendy's has really, really good strawberry lemonade. I actually have some in my fridge. I get like the huge large one. Their larges are like ginormous. And then I put like the extra, because there's usually a lot of extra in the fridge, and I just kind of sip on it for the next few days. So let's go ahead and take a look at these ring agendas here and what we are looking at when it comes to price and all that jazz. And I actually am going to duplicate this tab because it will be handy to have a couple of different tabs up so that we can easily go back and forth in between different products. If it wasn't so late in the day, I might actually think about grabbing coffee after this, but insomnia is a bitch, man. I mean, it's kind of an ADHD thing in a lot of ways, but yeah, I love coffee in the morning, and me and my caffeine addiction are in a pretty good place right now. But once it gets to be like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, I kind of try to stay away from caffeine, because otherwise getting to sleep at a halfway decent time is going to be really hard, if not impossible. And I'm constantly fighting against going nocturnal, which is what my body likes to do. So here are the ring agenda. So when you first get the ring agenda, it's going to come with the inserts. It looks like, okay, so these are the daily ones, not the weekly ones. I was like, that's expensive. Not that the daily ones are much cheaper. They're only, or the weekly ones, I mean, are much cheaper. They're only $10 cheaper. But, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to compare that to the A5 Life Planner, which it looks like starts at $55. And I think the spiral, I mean, you can do the upgrade with the spiral and all that jazz as well. I will say, if you do end up wanting to switch to a ring agenda, because like for inflation purposes, it probably would be a good idea to buy it this year as opposed to waiting until next year. If you can, maybe some of the ring agendas and like the inserts will go on sale before the new Life Planner launch, because usually when they raise the prices of stuff, it's when the Life Planner launches and not mid-year. Maybe try to pick something up during the Black Friday sale. That way, when it comes back around to next year, you are only having to buy the inserts. But from what I remember, it's not a huge price discount for the inserts. So anyway, let's call this $55, even though it can go up a little bit. And I'm just going to round this up to 80. Just for, again, simplicity. So the ring agenda is $25 more the year that you buy it, and you get the ring agenda and then whatever weekly insert you want. Again, they also have it as a daily duo. We're going to look at weekly and just kind of compare it that way, because that's what we're going to do. I have to say, I have this cover and it's so pretty, and I need to figure out how to use it. I also really love these focused covers. A lot of the times the focus collection does not really draw me in nearly as much. And with these, it does. Oh yes, they are 6-hole punch. It's the standard A5 punch. So you can use any A5 inserts. You do not have to get Erin Condren inserts. And so I think if I get to a point where I'm done talking about what's on the Erin Condren site, what I was thinking is we would look at what the other options are for inserts. So maybe go to Etsy. I don't sell A5 inserts, but maybe we could, I know other people do, and look at the options there. Maybe we can look at different brands and just kind of see what your options are there. Okay, so here are the inserts, and if we're getting it as a weekly, it's $50 for just the inserts. So basically, you're spending $25 more the first year, and then each subsequent year, if you weren't to upgrade the coil on an A5 planner, or get like a cover that has like foil on it. Because I'm not seeing any right now that are more, but oh, here's one, Huh, that's weird. Usually the covers with foil are a little bit more expensive. Guess not. So if you're not going to upgrade to get the spiral, and we're just assuming, Coco, please stop. And we're just assuming that you're going with the base. Every year, if you get the weekly one, you are going to save $5. So, you know, over the course of a long time, you know, what, 5-6 years, you can start saving some money if you're getting the Erin Condren insert specifically. I personally wish they had made the inserts like $45. I feel like a $5 discount, like the Ring Agenda is that much more expensive. And then with the inserts, they're only $5 cheaper than the actual planner. You're not getting a cover. It's not pre-bound. Like, just, it comes with less material. And I feel like Erin Condren prices are high. Erin Condren is not a cheap brand by any means, and I will not pretend it is. But compared to the other prices, I feel like the inserts are a little bit too high. I feel like they should be $45 instead of $50. Maybe they're trying to make them high so that people... Coco, this is not a good time to play. Maybe they're trying to make them a little higher so people won't, like, get it as a budget option. They'll get it because they actually want it, but I don't know. Ooh, Benito, you're saying that some people found it was easy to buy the rings in different colors and found the metalware easy to remove. Interesting. The other thing that you could do is, because it is the standard A5 size, you could get your own sleeve. And of course, it's like not right in front of me because I was attempting to clean it up. Oh, here it is. Okay. I don't think I have my inserts near me, but you know, it's a sleeve. Yeah, I don't know where the inserts are. That's okay. Part of the reason why I didn't use mine last year was because the compact vertical had not been released yet, and just the horizontal, and a lot of horizontal planning does not necessarily work well with me. But the other thing is that, for me, like, you have to have it completely open to use it, and it just is a lot of real estate on your desk. But if you're moving around with a planner, like you're taking it from school to work or whatever, having the loop for the pen, having little pockets for things, for stickers, for whatever, I could see how that would be a huge, 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 huge bonus. So, yes, Agman, another hangout with Tef Thursday. I could not brain today. We're honestly just looking at the Ring Agenda stuff because it was suggested, and then I changed the title of the hangout. I love the idea of sewing your own covers and inserting rings yourself. That's such a cool idea. Leah, maybe we should do like a planner crafts with Tef Day or something, or even a series where we like try a different one every time. That could be fun. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. And when I say crafts, I'm talking about the kind of stuff that doesn't necessarily require special equipment. Like maybe not obviously, but making planner stickers is a planner craft, but you kind of need a sticker cutter. Sticker cutter to do it at home, but you know, things like you know, covers or you know, things like that, or I know how to make DIY coil clips. They're not nearly as sturdy as the Erin Condren ones, but if you don't want to spend money on them, then you know, they'll do. I know some people make really cute planner charms. I've actually on and off kind of experimented with that with like resin and different stuff like that, but you can also use beads and yarn and all sorts of other things. I personally don't do a ton with planner charms or use them a lot, excuse me, because I have the same problem that I do with the fabric, or not the ribbon bookmarks that come in some books where the cats think they're cat toys, but they're so cute, and a lot of that stuff can be used for keychains or something else anyway, so it's not a big deal. I have actually thought about adding planar charms to my Etsy shop though, because I do like resin crafting, and so far I've mostly done dice, but I was thinking like, oh, planar charms would kind of go with stickers. So anyway, we'll see. Ooh, remember to bring along your popsicle stickers, rubber cement, and construction paper. I don't remember if I actually made popsicle stickers or if I was just planning to and then didn't. I pre-planned what stickers were going to go in a lot of the subscription stuff, and then I make a lot of changes last minute because I'm like, I don't like that. But yeah, that could be a lot of fun, like crafting, and I can like tell you kind of what the craft is going to be ahead of time and what sorts of supplies you'll want if you're going to craft along. Yes, that would be so cool if the agendas were sold separately, Manito, like the covers. Yeah. Back to Erin Condren here. It looks like we have 3 different kinds of inserts. I mean, I'm glad that they have some inserts. I think they need to beef up their inserts options. And they also have versions of a lot of the clip-in dashboards for the ring agenda, which is very nice. I like that. So that is what is available from Etsy. Oh, or not Etsy, from Erin Condren. They also have these dividers. So since I said Etsy, let's look at Etsy. I mean, as a seller on Etsy, you can probably tell that I like Etsy a lot. So we're just going to see what is available and kind of go from there. Oh, I forgot to mention it at the beginning. I'll mention it now and then I'll mention it later. So I know that I've mentioned so many times that like, oh, what should I do with the channel? I'm running out of ideas and like all this good stuff, right? So I finally decided to like hold a formal poll and just ask you guys what you want. So earlier today, I actually did one in the community tab, but then I deleted it. So I'm like, let me do something a little bit different. So if you filled out that one, thank you. I saw your responses, but I'm going to ask you to fill out another one. So I have a link in the description box down below to a Google form. It does have a couple of more questions, but I will be drawing from the people who respond one person to receive $40 shop credit to my Etsy shop. So it's one of those like, you know, you give me your feedback, you get entered in a drawing sort of deals. And I mean, it should be fairly simple and not take that much time. I'm doing $40 specifically because I wanted somebody to be able to get above the $35 for free shipping threshold with the order, so you don't have to pay for shipping unless you want a shipping upgrade. And sometimes, you know, it gets a little bit, you know, it's like, oh, like I have to spend 38 because the thing that I want that's going to get me above the threshold. So anyway, I figured 40 would be good. So yeah, if that's something you guys are interested in, my guess is the survey will take you less than 5 minutes. And just if you are interested in taking it for the drawing, you know, in being entered for the drawing, just make sure you do it by August 5th. Then on or around the 6th, or like, it will, knowing me, I'll probably be a few days late. Anyway, I'll just email. I'll draw someone with a random number generator and I'll email the person the code. So I just thought I'd throw that out there for anybody who is interested in giving your feedback. It's like, you know, what kind of streams are your favorite? Which ones do you watch? Do you have any suggestions? It's like that sort of deal. As I said, it should take you less than 5 minutes unless you want to spend a long time, like, writing stuff out to me. But, like, bare minimum, you could probably do it in 3 minutes easy. So yeah, if you want to give me your feedback, I would really appreciate that. Also, if you fill out the survey a few weeks ago to get a sticker kit in exchange for photos, I haven't sent out the kits yet. It's still in progress because I want to reformat my 6-page sticker kits, and a lot of people wanted those. And so it makes sense to do the reformat and then send out the newly formatted stuff. So I just wanted to give you an update for that. Like, I'm not leaving you hanging with that. So we are on Etsy, and I just searched A5 ring agenda to see what is coming up. So there are a lot of options here that are significantly cheaper than Etsy, but I'm guessing a good number of these maybe don't come with inserts. So let's go ahead and take a look here. I am just randomly clicking around, and then we can also look at other options. So it looks like this person has both A5 and A6 options, and with a couple of different color binder rings. Over 60 pages of paper included. Okay, so when I was saying it probably didn't come with anything, it sounds like it does. Now I'm looking for clarification from the photos, and it doesn't look like this person has it. Like, what kind of paper? Is it just like lined paper, or what? This is more of like me analyzing this as a listing, but if we're looking at it as an alternative of like what it comes with, doesn't really say, unless I'm complete. Oh, here we go. Over 80 pages of inserts included. Yeah, it doesn't say what kind of inserts it is. That is, I mean, I guess if you're buying something like this, you're buying it for the covers. And going this option, you know, whether it is on Etsy or somewhere else, and then getting the inserts from Erin Condren, I mean, will it save you tons and tons of money? No, but it will over time save you some money. Sorry, the hair in my face started getting me annoyed, and so we are doing something about it. I've been doing a lot of clipping my hair back and like using bobby pins just for like the little tendrils so that I can get my hair out of my face without completely stretching out my curls and waves. I know that people that have like much curlier hair than me, sometimes they'll get a little bit sensitive. I shouldn't say sensitive because that has like a negative connotation. Sometimes people don't like if someone who has like more wavy curls like me says they have curly hair. But I do, there are some curls that are in my hair, and I didn't like finger coil or anything. This is not about my hair. Lindsay Plans, you're saying you love the idea of the agenda, but you're not sure if you're going to use it because of the rings. You love the idea of being able to customize it, but having to open and close the rings is a turnoff. For me, it's not so much having to open and close the rings. It's not being able to, it's, you know, it has to lie flat. It just, for me, I mean, that's just me. It takes up more space. Some of these are gorgeous though. I mean, look at this. I know we've had like an ongoing talk about like floral stuff in planners, and this one definitely is floral. Oh, this is cool. I love how she has a video where she's just kind of showing stuff here and like what is actually in the planner. I was gonna say what the pages look like, but it doesn't look like she's showing what the pages look like. Marino saying you're wanting to Franken planner with the rings rather than the coil. So, ooh, that one's kind of cool. I love the quilting on that. Now, one thing I'm noticing is that there is a lot of the same shop on this first page, which to me indicates two things. First off, it indicates that if you like making planner covers like this, start selling them on Etsy. But the other thing it indicates to me is that not a lot of people are making them. And so there's not going to be as much selection as some other stuff. Obviously, Etsy is not the only place to get it, but, you know. Here's another option that is definitely more affordable at $15. I like how this one, maybe this is standard, but this has a little elastic here so that it will still hold the covers like nice and tight if you don't have as much stuff in there, but it can expand if you have more, and the flap will still close and stay secure. That is very cute. I also think this person should raise their prices, but this is what happens when you're an Etsy coach and you try to find cool products on Etsy. You start giving unsolicited feedback. So now that I want to take a look at what the inserts look like. Oh, that elastic could definitely be a pen loop, Leah. I didn't even think about that. In fact, that might make more sense. Or maybe it's both. Now, one thing that could make Franken planning easy is going more of a disc bound option. I mean, Happy Planner is the biggest planner that at least I know of that uses the disc bound system, but in a lot of ways it's kind of it's a lot of the benefits of a coil along with a lot of benefits of a binder. I personally find the discs to be too bulky and kind of bug me, but not everybody does. Some people love Happy Planner, and you can actually just get packs of discs. So you could theoretically, if you got a pack of discs and you got one of the disc punches, you could theoretically buy the Erin Condren inserts and then punch them for the discs. You would have the remnants of the holes there. I'd probably try to punch for the discs where the holes are so that I'm kind of using as much of the holes as possible and I don't have random holes there. But you could do that, and then you could easily Franken planner while still having some of the benefits of having more of your classic spiral. No worries about typos. My spelling is absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Hackman, you're saying the cheaper they are in price, the more cheap they could be in quality. Very, very good point. Need to check out the reviews and take what they say with a grain of salt. Yes. Okay, so this is good for consumers to know, but this is something I talk about a lot in coaching when I coach Etsy sellers, in that a lot of people on Etsy, some people will price things low on Etsy because it's not good quality. A lot of people will also underprice their items on Etsy, a lot of sellers, because they want to be competitive and they don't understand that specifically on Etsy, but in a lot of places too. I mean, this happens with pretty much any marketplace, that when something is cheap, the thing that people think about is, oh, what's wrong with it, right? So a lot of sellers will underprice their stuff because they think they're being competitive, when in fact actually raising your prices can often give you more sales. It's a little counterintuitive, but it has to do with just like human psychology of like what the quality is. And when people go to Etsy to shop, they're looking for something, made with love, handmade, higher quality. So, there's that. There are also some people that are not selling handmade things on Etsy, or they're like right on the edge of technically qualifying as handmade. You can also completely legitimately sell vintage things on Etsy. I forget exactly how they define vintage, but yes, I do agree that when something's cheap, you do have to be a little careful about it. But I also have bought some items that are more expensive and they're not made well. So just because it's more expensive is not a guarantee. But you do have to be careful both ways. And especially with someone like this, who has a fair number of sales, has a 5-star review thing, but doesn't have like thousands upon thousands of sales. Something like this makes me think that at least the quality is not terrible. Take that for what you think it's worth, but that's my thoughts based on what I'm seeing. Also, I will point this out. Star seller on Etsy is like great, but just because someone does not have star seller status does not mean they are not a good buyer to buy from. For instance, I lost my star seller status on Etsy because I had international customers asking me if I could ship items for less than like $18 USD shipping. And the way I had to do it negatively impacts my star seller. The way Etsy calculates on-time shipping, it has to be tracked. And because the only way I can ship internationally, less expensively is without tracking and basically shipping as a letter, it means that it's not tracked, and therefore Etsy counts it as not shipped on time, even though it is. So if you are shopping on Etsy, just because you don't see the star seller badge, do not assume that they, are terrible. Sometimes they are, but sometimes, like myself, they have made a choice to forfeit the star seller badge in exchange for giving customers what they want. And it's very frustrating. I've been telling Etsy for literally almost a year that this needs to be changed, and they don't change it. I have to say, I mean, like, if you want me to go on about like what I don't like about Etsy, I'm sure I could ramble on for a long time. But all of that being said, I still think Etsy is the best marketplace for handmade sellers to sell/start out selling. Like, it's still a good marketplace. I can nitpick. Some things are bigger than others. Some things, I can say I don't like this, and sometimes it only affects me, and sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, anyway, I do want to give that disclaimer. Interesting. So Manito, this one sticker seller you bought from on Etsy, the sticker images were very distorted and stretched. You gave them a 3-star review, and the owner banned you from her shop. Oh my goodness. Okay, first off, I didn't even know you could ban someone from your shop. Good to know in case I ever have someone who's completely unreasonable. But, whoa. There are some people who have given me 3-star reviews that I have thought were not earned. But I mean, it sounds like in this case it was. Like, if the images were distorted, like, that's not good. Sounds like that is an issue with their production process. Either they were having an issue and they didn't catch it. Now, granted, I will say that sometimes stuff, I mean, I'm not sure if I would catch a distortion issue like that. I want to say I would, but I don't want to guarantee it. But to then ban you from their shop because you were giving an honest review, that's ridiculous. I feel like, as I said, I feel like I would have caught a distortion issue occasionally, and we're talking like twice a year, if that. My cutting blade will go dull, and I'll cut a few sheets of stickers before I figure it out. And so usually when that happens, I go and check the last few sticker sheets that I've cut to make sure they are cut correctly. But on occasion, I have been known to miss a couple sheets. And one time I didn't find out about it until I'd already shipped stuff out. So in that case, I messaged the customers and I'm like, hey, I got a report that stuff wasn't cut right because of my dull blade. Since I sent your stuff out on the same day, can you let me know if your stickers peel up correctly? And in that particular case, luckily, it just happened to be the one order that I got the complaint about, but they were pretty happy with me just replacing them. But that's why I don't want to say for certain, like, I would have caught that, because occasionally I do make mistakes. Occasionally I do put the wrong sheet of stickers in an order, and usually people are really nice about it when I apologize and ship out the right ones. But, yeah, I don't want to, like, be all high and mighty when I'm just a human. And I theoretically could make the same mistake, even though I like to think that that's a big enough one I would have caught it. That would be so... I mean, I'm kind of curious now, Manito. You don't have to, but if you want to email me a picture, tefwilliams@gmail.com, feel free to, just so I can see, because I'm curious. Ooh, this is an interesting question. Caramel Cookies asking, Manito, how do you know they banned you? Are you unable to see their store page? Oh, you think the seller was, Manito saying, I think the seller was purposefully just trying to make fast money. Yours is like an honest human mistake. I mean, I like to think so. I do like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and because I do have this platform and I do talk about this stuff, you know, I do have the ability to say, like, this is the mistake I made, this is what happened, this is what I did about it. And I know a lot of sellers don't, you know, aren't on YouTube or maybe aren't comfortable talking about that sort of stuff. So because I do like to give the benefit of the doubt, like, yeah. Oh, so many, no, you're saying their shop doesn't pop up. Like, are you talking about in search, or you can like type in the name of the shop and it doesn't come up at all? And the reason why I ask is it's possible that they've either been shut down by Etsy or they're in vacation mode. Because if they're on vacation mode, it's significantly harder to get to the page on their shop because nothing's available to buy. This is some really nice stuff, I have to say, like looking at these inserts. I like that they all like kind of have different styles, and this is cute. Huh. You can type it and it doesn't pop up at all, like it's non-existent. Do you feel comfortable telling me who it is so I can search on my end? If you're not comfortable putting it in the chat, again, if you're comfortable emailing it but not putting it in the chat, that's fine. If you're not comfortable telling me it at all, that's fine too. I would not be surprised though if I would not be surprised if their shop got shut down then, especially if you're saying they were that bad. It is entirely possible that they got, I mean, there are a few different cases of what happened. If they got entirely shut down and the artwork was stretched, it's possible that it was stolen from another shop. They got reported for copyright abuse and Etsy shut them down for that. Etsy, what they do for copyright issues can vary quite a bit. But I have heard of people's shops getting shut down for that. I've also heard of just, you know, items getting removed and like basically like, hey, don't do it again. So, okay, Planning Magic SS is the Etsy shop name. Okay, I'm curious now. Let's go ahead and take a look. I always have to be really careful when I'm typing in Etsy.com because it always wants to bring me to my shop dashboard because that's what I usually do when I go to Etsy. Okay. They did ban you, I'm assuming, because they're popping up for me, no problem. Okay. I feel in some ways a little bad for like potentially like on stream making it look like I'm like dissing on another seller, bashing another seller without having all the facts. Which is kind of why I'm trying to look at photos and seeing what other people are saying. Because then, okay, what's going, I'm trying to see the, okay, whatever. You'll email me a photo. In the email or here, put, since we're looking into this anyway, if you can just like put on there what, if you mind me showing the photos on stream or not. Lindsay Plans, thank you. I'm not bashing, I'm investigating. But yeah, I mean, since we are investigating, it would be interesting to see what's going on here versus what you got. Let's see. Now I'm going back and just kind of looking at what people are saying. This person gave 4 stars but didn't give a reason. Same with this person. Some people also just don't rate stuff 5 stars. So when someone does a 4-star review, if they don't give a reason, I often won't I won't think of that or take that too heavily because, as I said, some people just like, it's very, stuff has to really impress them to give them 5 stars. This person, I wish she'd said why she was only giving 3 And this person even gave 2 on this one. 3, 3, 3. Yeah, I wish we had comments here because that would be very interesting. I mean, sometimes when people give 3 stars, there's something wrong with the product. And sometimes when people give 3 stars, it got to them a little bit later than they wanted through the mail, in which case the seller can't really do anything about that as long as they shipped it on time. Speaking of Etsy, just kind of while I'm scrolling through this, I've been thinking about doing a stream where I talk about, like, I guess, like, things Etsy sticker sellers would want you to know before buying, or like what to think about when you're buying from Etsy sellers when buying stickers. Is that something that you guys would be interested in? Just to share kind of some of the background of like what to expect when you're buying stickers, and kind of, I don't know, what could be good to know. I feel like some of the behind the scenes stuff is cool, but I also don't want to go into too much detail, especially if, you know, some of the details only interesting if you're a seller yourself, but some of it I think could be at least interesting or informative, if not helpful for a consumer. So this person gave 5 stars. I was patiently waiting for the stickers and was so excited to receive them. Perfect condition, exactly what I expected and more. Great and fast shipping. Okay. This person gave 4 stars, and we have a reason here. Okay, the colors and sizes were great. Only thing to knock down is some of the cuts were right through the backing page. So I have to be very careful peeling the washi off. I will keep shop in mind for future orders. Okay, I feel like that's a valid reason to knock a star off. I usually wouldn't have shipped out the stickers if they're in that condition, but that's just me. I've been told that my quality control is like very stringent compared to other handmade sellers. I don't know. The way I think of it is keeping in mind that there are going to be some perfections in handmade items. Would I be satisfied to receive this product or the sheet of stickers in this condition? And so that's kind of the benchmark that I use when I'm thinking, is this messed up or is this not messed up? So like sometimes if there's like a tiny little ink dot or an ink smudge, but it's not on any of the stickers, depending on my mood, sometimes I'll let it through because I'm like, the stickers themselves are okay. If there is, oh, thank you for emailing me, I'll go check it out. If there is, obviously, if like a sticker itself is messed up, maybe not obviously, but if a sticker itself is messed up, then it does not get let through, and it just gets, it goes into my mess ups bin. Huh. Okay, I can show them. Wonderful. So let me go ahead and download them, and then we can see what we're talking about here. Let's see. That way we could do a thorough investigation, and you can all help me decide if, like, what's going on, and you don't have to take my word for it. I can see how the stretched ones would definitely be a little bit bothersome. This is so not your fault, but I hate how sometimes when you take pictures, stuff gets stretched. So I think all of that is, oh my gosh. Oh, it took a sec. Okay, here we go. Ooh. Okay, that's stretched, isn't it? That's just not the angle of it. Because that's weird. Ooh. That feels stretched too. This one, not so much, and not so much that one. Yeah, this would bug me too. You could make an argument that some of this was like a design choice. Some of it was a design choice. But not all, definitely. Ooh, Tef, the Etsy sticker investigator. I love it. I have to say though, if these weren't stretched, like, I mean, they're beautiful designs, especially the ones that aren't stretched. Like, I can see why you bought this. That one looks stretched too. Like, I could see how it could be I guess it's the trees more that looks stretched than, I guess that's a mushroom in the middle. Yeah, this would bug me too. Probably what happened, my guess, is that when creating this item, I'm going to duplicate this so I can see exactly how it's advertised here on Etsy too, even if it's still even available. Probably when creating that artwork, things probably were not quite the right aspect ratio, and so she stretched it a little bit to make it fit more of what she wanted it to be, like, you know, made it fit the boxes a little bit better. That is my guess. And yes, these definitely look stretched. Now, what I'm trying to look at here is if one version looks more stretched than another. It's hard to tell because not everything is facing the right way, but like the vertical definitely looks more stretched than the hourly. Okay, I think I know what's going on here. So what happened probably is she designed everything for probably the hourly, because that looks like it's the least stretched, and I'm not seeing anything that's like really, a couple of them are a little weird, but not nearly as bad. And then when she converted it to vertical and the Happy Planner vertical and the horizontal, instead of cropping it, she just took it and stretched it, exactly like you said. So it kind of distorts it. Again, it's a little bit hard to see, but like, please tell me that I'm not the only one that like the fact that this is stretched compared to that one is like super obvious. Same with like here compared to here. She had a wolf one in her shop that was the most distorted and stretched. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, I think it just has to do with her process, with how she converts it. And I have to say, this exact issue, not this exact issue, because I like to think I would not let stuff go, like I would not design something so it's intentionally stretched like this. But the issue of converting full boxes from, you know, one format, one planner format to another is the reason that up until now I've only really designed kits for the Erin Condren vertical, because I haven't had to deal with this. I design stuff for the correct aspect ratio and then I don't have to deal with it. But as I said, the right way to do this is to take it and essentially reframe it. So either design it so that the whole thing is bigger and that you're cropping it slightly differently, or if you're taking this and you need to make it holler, you could maybe take a little bit off here and a little bit off there. Well, I know you're saying that like they didn't look very stretched when you looked at them, but in real life they look really stretched. Which, of course, I like didn't. Okay, so you have the Erin Condren vertical. That's what it looks like anyway. So this is the Erin Condren vertical, right? It's sideways. I can totally see why it would not look that stretched because you're looking at it sideways, especially if you are not the kind of person that's used to looking at graphics and kind of trying to tell what's wrong and what needs to be done to fix them. I've been doing art and design in some way, shape, or form, like as part of like classes or professionally since I was, I don't know, 7 or 8 at least. I took decently intensive art classes starting when I think I was like 11 or 12. So, and then I've done design and like all this sort of thing. And so because of that, I've effectively like trained my eyes and my brain to catch a lot of this stuff faster than, say, my mom typically does. I mean, if you remember a few years ago, there was like the whole dress thing that where people were like, oh, is it, what was it? It was either white or gold or blue and black or something like that. And the reason why everybody was seeing it, or people were seeing it as different colors, is because of the way the light was on it. The actual tones in the picture looked closer to white and gold. So, but the actual dress was blue and black. So some people's brains could kind of correct for that automatically, and some people's didn't. And I wouldn't have been surprised if it had to do with how much art and color training they had. I know, at least for me, I am a lot better at picking out what colors, like what undertone colors are in something, like house colors or something like that, than, say, my mom or my dad are, or I think even my sister or my brother. I think I've ever tried with them. But anyway, I just pulled up a Google thing if anybody is curious. It also could have had something to do, come on, go in there. It also could have had something to do with the kind of screen you were looking at it on. So like for me, I mean, I think this was the dress. For me, it's like, well, yeah, of course it's blue and black, it's just faded out. Whereas I think some people almost corrected the other way, thinking that it was in shadow. I don't know. I don't want to assume exactly what was going on, because I am not an expert in that sort of thing exactly, but I'm just trying to take my personal experience and go into it. And here is a good illustration of kind of what I was talking about. You take a black dress, blue and black dress, and you put yellow light over it, or you take a white and gold dress and then you put like a blue light over it. And so some people are thinking, are like their brains are assuming this, and some brains are assuming this sort of thing. And what I will also say, and I did learn this as a psych student, that our brains are wired to essentially take as many shortcuts as possible. So a lot of what we talk about when we talk about, like, I'm trying to think of the exact context that this was in, because I feel like I could potentially get into trouble if I do not convey this correctly. So when we think about stereotypes, that is, in a lot of ways, our brains taking a shortcut and putting things into groups. And when we find something that does not meet that stereotype, our brains are more likely to think you're an exception to the stereotype versus our group was wrong. So if you take a lot of the like TV shows that had Black people or Black families throughout like a lot of like the 80s and 90s, for instance, there were some of them where they depicted a family that were Black / are Black, but they did not act with those Black stereotypes that a lot of people had. So instead of people realizing their internalized stereotype was wrong, their brain put those people in that show into a, okay, this is a different group than that group box, instead of breaking up that stereotype. And that is part of why it's very hard to change people's views about a group of people based on just one or even a handful of instances or individuals, because to some extent, unfortunately, it's literally the way our brains are wired. And it's really a shame on several levels that our brains are wired that way, but they would not be wired that way if it wasn't also to our advantage in categorizing information and predicting what we think is going to happen. Because a lot of people don't think about this a lot, but when we do or say something and other people are around, we often subconsciously, but sometimes consciously, will predict how we think that's going to go down, what we think the reaction is going to be like. And so having those groups, those stereotypes, those shortcuts that we can rely on makes that a lot easier for our brains to do. Of course, I was going to look at the other photos and then I just closed it. I have forgotten a good deal of the detail since I took that particular psych class approximately 10 years ago, but hopefully I gave you enough information to at least give you the basic idea of what I'm talking about. So when I'm taking that sort of situation, I know we kind of got off the topic of like how our brains handle things, but, well, I mean, that was the topic, but we got off the topic of these stickers. But yeah, it looks like that, like, because this was sideways, we're not used to seeing sideways things. And so to some extent, I would not be surprised. I know you said that you were on your phone when you ordered them, but your brain probably to some extent, because they were also sideways, probably corrected for that. The fact that they were stretched because it was already correcting for the fact that they were sideways. It's crazy what our brains will do. Yeah, I am personally not a fan of how she organizes, of how she converts some of her kits. Now, I will say, some of this is actually quite, maybe not brilliant, but currently when I have my kits, for the most part, each kit's, like the set or the file, is like completely different. But in this particular case, okay, mouth open shock is what I'm thinking right now. I will say what I was going to say. This has given me the idea to maybe try to come up with some of these standard pages that would be applicable to all different types of kits, and maybe try to organize my files in such a way so that, say, my vertical kits for 𝗂𝗏𝗏 and my compact vertical kits have the same, page with all the icons on it and stuff like that. That way, it's simpler for me when I'm converting from one format to another, and I could maybe even offer more formats. Okay, so I love the fact that you try to buy from different shops to help support artists and small businesses. I will say again, this is my personal opinion. Please do not send any hate to this seller. Just because I think this is not the way to do things does not mean that there are not other arguments. And I will say that the way she seems to convert stuff significantly faster than the way I do it. And I will give her that. The reason why I was staring with my mouth wide open is this. Because those are very, very clearly in my brain. Tell me in the comments or in the chat if your brain is saying something differently. In my brain, that's very much supposed to be circles and not ovals. Like, ugh. So that is why I was just like, what? That's craziness. Yeah, but something like this, I guess all the boxes are slightly different dimensions. But even setting up my pages in the future, since I'm going to be doing a reformat anyway, so that some of the pages are maybe like all colors, so it's easier to like flip over to a new kit because I use a previous kit as a template for a new one. Like, that could just make my process faster. That's one thing I also look at doing it. Well, I constantly try to make my process more efficient and faster. especially because I have days where I don't want to do shit. And so if the processes that I am using take less time, I either have more time to not do the things I don't want to do, because even the tasks I love for my shop, sometimes I don't want to do. But on the days where I'm doing well, and I can just get more done. Ackman, you're saying it could be the exact same picture, just changed in Photoshop, etc. It'll look like a different product. That is a good point. That is a good point. Again, since we're analyzing it, usually I would try to say that, but based on what Magneto is saying about her, I hope I'm using the right pronouns, her experience, and what I'm seeing in some of the other pictures, I would not be surprised if it is just stretched. I'm also looking at the spaces in between the stickers. So if we look here, my digging into planners and planner sticker skills are finally being used for something other than Erin Condren sneak peeks. So if we're looking at these two pages, these two look, in my opinion, the closest, because these two pages, for the hourly and the horizontal, seem to have smaller icons. So as I'm looking at these two, I can tell that when the weekend banner or whatever, I can tell that the font is slightly different. I mean, this one is, it looks stretched, but these also look like circles. Or it could be that, like, this is a little bold and that isn't, or like, it looks like overall, this page looks less stretched. My guess with this is that they wrote, they typed in weekend, and then instead of changing the font size to put how wide they wanted it to be, they stretched it. And so you can get away with a little bit of that. And if it was in a vacuum, I could just call it a stylistic choice. But when I compare it to this, where this up here for weekend does not look stretched, in my opinion, this week and next week also, in my opinion, does not look stretched. And they're also in slightly different places in comparison to the border. Again, if we're looking at, could it just have been manipulated in Photoshop to make it look like a different product? That is true. But anyway, when I scroll down and I'm looking at the icons down here, so the circles for these icons look stretched, right? The other icons, when I look at them closely, they look stretched as well, but for the most part, because these icons are not enclosed in a circle, you can't really tell all that much. It's most apparent on things like this, where you have the plate that's a circle, and you can look at that. Whereas a lot of these others, it's a good example of being able to get away with it, because it's subtle enough and you do not have circles or other shapes that make that stretch apparent. So, in my opinion, this has been stretched, but the reason why I do not think it is the same sheet as this one, except just like squished or stretched in Photoshop for mock-up purposes, in my opinion, is that if this was squished, then we should not have this much space in between each of the stickers. Look at how little space we have in between the stickers here versus how much we have here. Why this was made as a stylistic choice, I do not know. I personally do not like it. But in my professional opinion, that is what I think happened as far as, I think this one was stretched, but it is actually a unique sheet to this one. So Magneto, my guess is that I mean, for these, I don't know. In my opinion, there's not a very good excuse. Because something like this is easy enough. A lot of it is just changing the colors. Like, you have different sheets and you go into each of them and change the colors. When you're talking about full boxes, it is significantly harder to convert between different aspect ratios. So maybe they don't think the stretch looks bad. There could be that. I personally think they took the lazy way out as far as converting to different full box sizes. That does not make it look as good. I do my best not to distort images unless I'm intentionally distorting them to, like, for a specific purpose, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And in that case, my goal is to make them not look distorted. If I can, the goal is to not have it be noticeable. And in this case, granted, I do know I catch some of this stuff easier than other people, but in this case, I think it's noticeable. That's just me. Now, in something like this, the lines in between these boxes are thicker. My guess is that they were stretched, also based on how the hearts are stretched, but one could call that a stylistic choice. I don't think it was in this case, but you could make an argument that that's a stylistic choice. We do not have any, they're not photos. Okay, so sorry, I don't mean to go into like too much detail here. So when you have, there are two main different, I guess, styles or types of images. I'm simplifying this significantly, but you might have heard the term vector, as far as like a vector image, comes up a lot more, and then raster doesn't come up as often, but it is kind of the opposite of vector in a lot of ways. So for vector stuff, we often recognize vector stuff as like the type of graphics that have like really smooth lines. The simpler stuff usually is like all color in one shape, whereas raster is what you would think is going to be photographs. It's basically pixel art, but the pixels are so small that our eyes don't see the individual pixels, right? The vector art actually is not pixel art. In the background, there are actually math equations for each of those lines, for each of those shapes. The benefit is that vector art is infinitely scalable. I could make it as big as a billboard if I want, because all we have to do is tell that math equation in the background how big to scale it up to. Now, you usually don't see the math equation. Whatever program you're using, Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, what have you, is going to do that in the background. And I completely forgot where I was going with the whole vector versus raster thing. Oh, what I was going to say is this sort of thing of stretching it is often going to end up looking better, for the most part, on vector graphics, because it's math equations. When you stretch it, you're essentially changing the math equation, so you're not going to get like the weird jaggedy edges and things like that. And because the types of things that tend to be vector usually are a little simpler, have more straight lines, things like that, that are not going to show up quite as prominently as being distorted. That is not a rule, but in my experience, that tends to be how it works. See, I have like no actual problems with this. I mean, this I could probably dig in and be like, oh, maybe this was distorted or whatever, but I mean, those look pretty standard. Again, a lot of what I'm looking at is the shape. Okay, this, again, I'm aware I'm nitpicking. The 1 is off center. The 31, the 30, like some of these are off center. This is why I don't like to bother with numbers in my kits, because centering all 31 friggin' numbers is a pain in the ass, even if I only have to do it once. So anyway, that is my in-depth analysis as to why that artwork looks stretched. Something like this, where it's geometric, it doesn't matter nearly as much. you can still kind of tell that it's stretched, but because it's geometric, and it's not supposed to be like an illustration of something, it doesn't feel quite as distorted. And if you were to look at, like, to me, side by side, this one looks the most distorted, but if you were to look at that in a vacuum, it wouldn't be nearly as noticeable as it would be with the ones that you got. I'm glad that my explanation makes sense, Mendito. I half joke about it, but I actually think to some extent it is a little bit of a gift, where I often understand enough of the technical stuff to understand what is going on, but I'm also fairly good at translating it and simplifying what's going on, to explain to, like, the average layperson who is not very tech savvy. And because digital graphics are tech, like, at least in my brain, it falls into that category. I also will mention that I probably would not know nearly as much as I do about this stuff had I not taken classes, like, both in college and in high school, where we went over some of this stuff. I literally had classes in high school and college where, like, we were using Photoshop, Illustrator, things like that, like these programs. And so as part of that, we had to learn, like, how some of this works, and, like, the back end. I won't pretend I'm good at Illustrator. I know my way around. I use it several times a week for various things, but, like, I know the basics. Even for Photoshop, I wouldn't call myself an expert. I'm probably intermediate at Photoshop, even though I've been using it for like 15 years now. All right, well, that is that analysis. Even the banner, I feel like this looks stretched. Okay, I need to stop dunking on her because I'm sure she has the best of intentions. Okay, one more thing that I want to, okay. Of course, like, my brain is going like, oh, that, you should change that in your shop, and doing it like a shop critique the way I would for a seller. But as far as, like, the way the shop is set up, like, if I was coaching someone, I mean, the way the shop is set up, there's nothing that I haven't seen other sellers do. That, like, for instance, one of the things I tell people, no worries, Manito, no worries about getting me started. One of the things I tell people, for instance, is to put your name, put your face here, whether it's a photo or if you have, you have an illustration, whether you can draw it yourself or have it commissioned, because people like to buy from people a lot of times on Etsy, and that can increase your sales. I don't even like her logo because the text is very hard to read. That could be called a personal opinion. There are other things. Those are, I mean, like, of what I like to call the low-hanging fruit items of, like, the basic stuff that I look at first. I look at the photo of, like, I look at the logo. Number of items in the shop is sort of that. The About Me section, it's good that she has it. Not everybody does one. There should be a picture here, and then she has her policies filled out, which is great. So, as far as that goes, she's done more than some sellers in those respects. I will give her that, she has some room for improvement when it comes to general shop setup. But that's the sort of thing that now my brain does automatically when I'm looking at a shop for any reason. It's like, oh, have you met the basic check boxes for, like, basic shop setup? And if you're watching this and have an Etsy shop and have not done coaching with me, now you know the basics that I look for. Yes, Ackman, it is very easy for us here to go in a different direction. But here's the thing, like, some of our tangents are not planner related at all. This one, even though it was not, like, directly related to planners, it was related to planner stickers, and some of this stuff is very good to know and understand if you buy stickers, because I didn't even think about, like, to me, granted, I'm me, she is her, I'm assuming she's a girl, Beth, okay, yeah, that's a female enough name that I feel confident in saying that I'm not, anyway. I would not have thought of converting full boxes that way, but as I said, with something that's more geometric, you could actually get away with it, and it would save a significant amount of time. And again, I will give her that. But that's, I mean, it's, okay, definitely not best practice. Yeah, I don't want to do, but anyway, my point is some people either might not know better, if you want to call it that, or they might not think it looks bad, or like different things like that. So anyway, that is my investigation on the matter. And it was not a mistake. It was showing as intended, as it was designed and intended. I just personally don't think those particular boxes were designed the way they should have been. And I will say that that is my personal opinion. Because objectively, I do think they look strange. And my opinion is that that shouldn't have happened, that that's not the way they should have been designed. But as I said, that people can argue me on. So this is interesting. ADHD planner for a lot of people. This is one thing, I mean, okay, so we're back to looking at the Ring Agenda stuff. And here I was thinking I might only end up streaming for like 45 minutes today because I wasn't feeling great. You guys have like really perked me up. I just like completely lost track of time. I have been focusing on planner stickers. Would you guys be potentially interested in inserts? I've also been thinking about converting some of my stickers to printables. That's like a different project. But interestingly enough, when you're talking about like niches on Etsy as far as selling planner stickers go, there's actually 3 sub niches that have very different audiences. The printed sticker niche, the printable sticker niche, and the digital sticker niche. And people will often go from printed stickers to printables because sometimes they're like, oh, I might as well just get like the sticker cutter and overall it will save me money. People rarely go from printables back to printed. Sometimes they'll buy a printed sheet here and there, but it's much less likely to stop doing printables because once you have the equipment to cut the stickers and the sticker paper, it's significantly less expensive to go that route. And then digital is kind of in a land of its own. You would love more inserts and stickers? Okay. I mean, as far as like stickers go, I am always releasing new stickers. Leah's actually helping me with that. We have a little trade going on where she helps me with some of my stuff, and I help her with some of her stuff on her Etsy shop. So yeah, that is something I can think about putting together, but it might be kind of fun to like design a planner. I'm not sure if I would do it as a printable or if I'd have the option to have it printed out and shipped out. I'd have to think about that. Yeah, there are so many different options here for inserts, especially printable inserts. If you are looking to save money. Of course, if you're going the printable route, there are a couple of things you have to keep in mind. First off, you have to physically print them, which, depending on if you have a printer or not, can be difficult. If you don't have a printer, you either have to go to a local print shop or you have to get them printed online. And that can be a hassle, especially if you've never done something like that. And then if you're going for something like A5, or essentially not the standard size of paper in your country, whether that's 8.5 by 11, or I think it's A4 is the standard size in most other places in the world, if I'm remembering correctly, you have to cut it down in some way, shape, or form. And so, you know, are you going to do that with a sticker cutter, or are you going to do that with like a silhouette portrait or a Cricut? And if so, like, does it come with the cut files already, and you'd have to probably feed it in 1 page or 2 pages at a time? Or are you going to use a standard paper cutter? And if so, like, do you trust yourself to be accurate enough? Are you willing to take the time, or do you not care if it's not super accurate? There's like a lot that goes into that. But it looks like some of this, at least, not right here, but I'm pretty sure some of the other stuff. Oh, here we go. This one's printed. So habit tracker pages printed. Doesn't say how many come in it, but $9.50, I mean, that's a pretty good price. Yeah, 26 habit tracker sheets for $9.50. I think that's reasonable. It's pretty simple, straightforward habit tracker sheets. Looks like they're double-sided. So that is where kind of like personalizing it and franken-plannering it up is great for ring addendas, and you are not, you don't have to stay with one brand. You don't have, you know, you could get some 𝗂𝗏𝗏 stuff. You could then supplement with something like this or somebody else's. You could do some printables. You could go to another place. This person has tabs. We looked at these on 𝗂𝗏𝗏, and ooh, those are so cool because they open. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to like get a good look at these. Okay, so are they like almost like folders? I don't, like, my brain is having a hard time wrapping around this. Or are they just like individual sheets like that you put in and they just have the tabs at the top? I don't even know. I should probably actually read this. Okay. Refills, diary inserts, tab index replacement. Huh. Paper is one of the best on the market. Each designed with an index for you to easily organize your special occasions. We developed a unique oval-shaped wide holes, which gives full opening to use your diary. Oh my goodness, I love the idea of oval holes to make that easier. That's one thing I do not like about binders and ring addendas, that sometimes it can be kind of hard. That's so cool though. Ooh, okay. Planner Kate also released Create Your Own Monthly Stickers. It's basically a giant sticker for the entire page that is blank monthly sticker layout in the EC style. Decorative tabs or vellum inserts would be nice to have. Very few shops sell them. That's okay. Okay, so here I will expose myself as far as my, it doesn't happen as often, but it used to happen all the time, and I'm trying to remember exactly what, okay, I was trying to remember exactly what it is. So, it was the spelling mistake, or the typing mistake, that I would constantly make a few years ago would be when I was typing a word that ended in a T, and then after that I had the word it, I-T. So maybe you can guess what I would do. I would press space too soon, and so I would cut the T off of the first word and I'd put it on the beginning of the second. So it would turn into tit. So that is me calling myself out. And I did it a lot in like instant messaging. Yeah. Read is a 4-letter word. Yes, I love it. One thing I've been kind of thinking about doing is fold over stickers that you can effectively use to make your own tabs, and that way you can put them wherever you want on the page. They wouldn't be as sturdy as like some other materials, but I was thinking I could make cute designs. I don't know. I haven't really done that. You have a oh, Lindsay, that's great. Typing shit instead of this. Oh yeah, and you probably, you haven't figured it out, I did ban some words in my chat just to like keep things at least somewhat PG-13, at least, or I'm sure you, please don't try to get over PG-13 in the chat, but I didn't want people to be able to come in and, you know, type the F word, although, you know, everywhere I wanted to keep it at least somewhat family friendly in the chat, even though I do swear occasionally. Cold laminated fold over tabs. Oh, I didn't even think about laminating them. That would be perfect. I was thinking you could like write on them yourself, but I could do both, either write on or not write on. I guess you can still write on cold laminated with like a Sharpie or something. That'd be very cool. I love it. Icon tabs. Yes, that would be so cool too. So many ideas, guys. Give me a sec. Leah gave me this idea the other day, and I probably had like already thought of it and then completely forgotten it. I need to just keep a pen and my notebook handy when I'm on stream so that I can write all this shit down, because you guys come up with the best ideas. And then because I am focusing on so many things, I completely forget what is going on, and I forget that you guys gave me the best idea, or maybe you say something that like sparks my brain and gives me a great idea. And I've started this sort of thing a few different times in a few different places, but now that I've put everything in, for the most part, in one notebook, I need to just like do this. So we are going, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to format this page. All right. All right. I'm a lot more comfortable doing something that's sticker based than like insert based, I have to say, just because I use stickers and I know stickers, whereas I don't really use a ton of inserts myself. So I feel like I don't have as much personal experience with what works well, whereas I do with stickers. But it doesn't mean I can't, learn. It just means it's not as intuitive. I also will say that when I started my sticker shop, I spent so much time testing and reformatting stuff and getting things just right. And I haven't had to do that for such a long time because I've been using the templates I created way back then. So it's not like I didn't do a lot of research. It's just that I'm using the research I've done and I haven't really needed to. Ooh, Ackman, try to make over the fold over sticker in the shape of an animal head when folded, like maybe a cat. That would be adorable. So cute. You guys have the best ideas. Yeah, Leah, I'm not surprised you're writing them down too. Sticker owners or sticker shop owners always want to take all the ideas that you can and use them. Because like when I come up with sticker ideas, I mean, I will even tell you this. When I started my shop, I made a lot of the stickers that I used that I would want to buy, and it turned out that that was not what was popular and selling on Etsy. And when I started to branch out a little bit more to maybe not exactly the stickers that like were my top choices, because I was then creating stickers that other people could theoretically want to use, and not just personalized to me, that's when I started making more sales. That's just kind of how it ended up working for me. Basically, I started with making almost all kits and like add-ons for kits, and then I expanded to sheets of stickers, like, you know, like I do a lot of now. And that's what started selling because it has a little bit of a broader audience. Solid metallic diamond shaped tabs. Oh, that would be gorgeous. Oh my goodness. I theoretically have the ability to do metallic, but I do not, I've never set it up. Basically so there are two different ways to do metallic stuff. You can either use like sheets of metallic film, and there's like if you print on a laser printer, you can then laminate it, like hot laminate it, and the like metallic foil will stick on. Or you can use something like a foil quill, which I think uses either the same or similar, it must be similar metallic stuff, like metallic film, but the idea is I think this gets hot and like the heat from that puts it on whatever it is. Anyway, I got this on clearance. It wasn't actually that much on sale, but I never set it up. So just haven't done it. You're going to trademark everything you say? Great. Laminated bookmarks, hole punched or not. I have a friend on Etsy that makes bookmarks. I hadn't really thought about making them for planner stuff, but whether they're like snap in or just regular bookmarks, that could be so cool. I could also do theoretically bookmarks that are not laminated. I do not have a like your standard lamination process set up. What I have is adhesive laminate. So that's what I currently use for my like 2 and 3 inch stickers. They're not technically die cut stickers, but it's the same idea. And I probably could use it for a bookmark. I just didn't think it would be a thing. It would be, there are some logistics that would make it a little bit harder to use for a bookmark. But realistically, there's no reason why I couldn't. I just have to work out the logistics. Yes, Leah, one day you'll have your perfect planner. He will laugh. Bookmarks to coordinate with my kits could be really cute. That way, if you like the artwork, but you aren't a sticker person, or if you are a sticker person and want to see it more, you could get a bookmark. That'd be kind of cool. I also could do, I'd have to make sure they're not copyrighted for some reason. I don't think they would be, but I could do snap-in bookmarks in the style that that Erin Condren does them. I probably would have to get a hot lamination setup for that, but maybe that could be kind of cool too. I'll have to think about that. You guys have the best ideas. Ooh, Opal just, not Opal, Coco just walked over my keyboard. Okay, all the things going on in chat. Okay. A4 single sheet laminators are affordable. You have one. I make some for yourself. Yay! I actually do have a small hole punch that punches like the same size as the Erin Condren snap-in bookmarks because they actually use a smaller hole punch than the standard one, but I do have the small one. Lindsay, I hope you have a good night. Yeah, almost 9 is pretty late. I'm glad you had a good time. I have to say, this has been a pretty good stream, seeing as I literally came on and had no idea what we were doing. So don't go with the Amazon Basics laminator, Leah. Good to know. You recommend getting one from Staples? Staples is usually pretty good. The only problem is that I do not have a Staples super near me. I have, it's either an Office Depot or an Office Max. I always mix them up, and I think they're owned by the same company now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I have one of those like 10-15 minutes away, but I think I have to drive an hour to get to the closest Staples, so it's not exactly ideal. Oh, you like the streams where it's just like, hey, let's talk about whatever. I have to say, I know I've said this so many times, and you filling out the survey that I have linked down below and letting me know what you like really helps. I should have put, maybe I can add a like option to like, you know, well, I think I actually have Hangout as one of the options for streams. I saw that a couple of you filled it out, but I didn't actually take a look. Just chatting Hangouts is one of the options for like, what kind of streams do you like? But I could theoretically make it official that one stream a week or one stream every other week is just kind of like chatting, hang out, whatever you guys want to talk about. That way I only have to come up with one idea per week, and that takes a lot of pressure off me. We'll see. Obviously, it is not your responsibility to make sure I have content, even though I do appreciate when you guys give me feedback or ideas and all that stuff, but I understand that that's on me, and I'm not like complaining. Okay, I'm complaining, but I'm like complaining into the void. I'm not saying it's anybody's fault but mine. Nanito, you're saying you can buy metallic scrapbook paper, cut them, laminating, or hole punch them, add a small charm to them, or ribbon. You can buy various laminator sheet thicknesses too. I knew about like the hot laminator sheet thickness. With the cold lamination where it's like adhesive, you can definitely get different thicknesses, but it's significantly harder. So that's where, I mean, it's a business. I just don't want to like, I know that if I let myself get all of the business supplies, I will give myself permission to spend money on all sorts of things that I don't really need. So that's where I'm like, oh, I want to make sure, that if I'm buying stuff, it's actually needed. Yeah. Leah's saying that she wants to steal Magneto's brain. That's great. Oh, that's so sweet of you. You're a teacher and receptionist. You make the bookmarks for students at your job. That's great. I love that. Well, thank you for the idea. It could actually be an interesting, if you guys are interested, maybe, okay. It could be interesting if you guys are interested, because that makes total logical sense. It could be a fun stream, at least for me, maybe for you, to try it out on stream and like almost like those videos where people try like different hacks and stuff like that, except it will be like trying planner crafts and seeing if I can actually make them work. But I love the idea of selling those in my Etsy shop. There are going to be some logistics and like doing photos and whatnot, because I usually do mock-ups, and I'd have to think about how I would do that as a mock-up, or if I just finally take photos, but whatever. Again, that's a me problem, but that could be a lot of fun. Buying things that you'll never need. Have you been looking at my EC pen collection? Yes. So for a little while, I've mentioned I like resin crafting, and I've been doing some dice stuff. And so for a little while, I'm like, oh, well, I'll start a dice shop on Etsy to like fund my making of dice. And I could also do resin crafts where I'm selling planner charms and stuff like that. So I made the excuse to buy supplies and stuff like that out of my business account for a while. And then I'm like, no, like until you actually start selling this stuff, you got to buy it out of pocket. You want to see the dice? I don't think I have any sets right now that are like fully sanded and inked, but I do have one set that aren't sanded and inked, and from what I think they look cool. Let me go grab them, because it will only take me a couple secs. So I have not moved my craft table yet. It should just be right here. Where are they? Okay, maybe it won't take me just a couple seconds to grab them. Oh, there they are. Okay. Cool. I think I'm probably going to ink these either in, I mean, probably it will be white. If I can manage some silver, maybe. Resin planner charms, but you hope it won't be too much work for one person. That was a little dicey, and you're just telling us? That's great. Okay, so I keep dice in progress in these little containers that are magnetic. I get them at the dollar store, in case you're curious. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to show them to you so you can like see the colors. They're not going to pop quite as much as they would with inked or like actually properly on camera. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to show these. Can you see that maybe? Ah! Dice are raining. It's raining dice, guys. It's raining dice. I'm going to put them back in here, and maybe that will allow me to show them a little bit better. We're having focus problems. AKA my camera doesn't autofocus. Well, okay, it does. I don't know if it autofocuses while I'm filming, and I have it set to not. So anyway, these are the dice. I'll grab the D20 so you can kind of see maybe a little bit. See, that doesn't even work because it's not autofocusing, but it's like a translucent blue with a pink. So there is one or two that I have to fill in a little void with some UV resin still. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there was like a little hole, a bubble. So I have to fill that in with UV resin. And then other than that, they are ready to be polished. A little bit of sanding. I actually was able to clean them up pretty well when they came out of the mold. And then inked. They're also, because I used eyeshadow instead of like proper mica, and I didn't, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this. They got some speckles on them is what I'm trying to show you. Some of the like eyeshadow mica did not get mixed in quite well enough. But I think, I mean, okay, I see it as a defect, but at the same time, I think it's kind of cool. So anyway, yeah. Ooh, I love that idea. I'll take pics. Okay. I can post to the community tab. So yeah, this is, I actually haven't cast any dice in a little while. These have been sitting on my craft table for quite a while. I go, just like I go through phases of feeling like I'm creating more stickers. I go through phases of feeling like resin crafting. And right now my table is a mess, and I've been saying this for a while, but I'm trying to move it to my little alcove area. And that alcove area is also very close to where I have a lot of my storage. So a lot of the stuff that's currently overflowing on my craft table and is on the floor will then have, it will have a home, hopefully. Or at least if it doesn't, it won't be right in the middle of my living room. It will be out to the side. Oh, I'm glad I have great taste. Glad you think so. I like my taste, so I'm glad other people agree. Have a good one, Leah. I actually probably should be going now anyway. I suck at closings, but hello. We have an Opie. Opie, that's not nice. She literally knocked a pen off the desk right next to the garbage. Anyway, I know I suck at closings, but I am going to try to get better at them. So what I will leave you with is there is a link to a survey in the description box down below. If you have not already taken the survey, please do. That will just give me feedback about what kind of streams that you like. And anybody who takes the survey by August 5th will also be entered to win $40 in shop credits to my planner sticker shop over on Etsy, open worldwide. Just if you're under 18, just make sure you get parent or guardian permission to enter. But other than that, anyone, regardless of where you are in the world, can enter. No, Ackman, I'm not going to let the cats play with the dice. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. And I will see you next time. I stream Mondays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific.